In today's video, I'm going to take a look at Battlefield 1 and what content I think we'll see between now and then when the next game comes out in October. We all know that there's going to be the second part of Turning Tides dropping in the next couple of days, and then after that we'll have the two-part Apocalypse DLC dropping around a month afterwards. I'm not too sure on exact dates for this, it could be as late as March, but I don't think that we'll be waiting too much longer in order to see the final iteration of the DLC. Now this is what made me a little bit confused. There's no way that DICE can wait all the way from February or March until October without releasing any additional content for Battlefield 1. And this idea was shared by Teabag Gaming, again linked in the description down below, you should check this guy out. He brought up a really good point the other day in one of his videos, and I'd like to go into it in a bit more detail with my thoughts and expand with some personal knowledge. This is of course revolving around the content in Battlefield 1 and whether or not we'll get more content after both parts of the Apocalypse DLC has been dropped. So as Teabag did in his video, let's take a quick look at player numbers. Now the game is certainly not dead, but the game doesn't have as many players as I was hoping it would have at this point in its life cycle. The DLCs have come out, people should be jumping onto the game and trying everything out. People who are late to the game could be picking it up quite cheaply now, and you'd expect player numbers to boost up and be a little more healthy than they are. That being said, it's not all over for Battlefield 1. There's definitely room to improve, room to grow and get more players back again, and there is certainly a core community in Battlefield 1 that is pretty awesome and has been growing over the course of the game's life. When looking at the entire history of Battlefield 1's population, you can see that it's dropping down all the way from November down to January in a steady decline. This is both for Xbox, PS4 and PC. Of course, console has far more players on it than PC, and you can see that through the graph that I've posted on screen now. Now interestingly, you can see a spike in March 2017 and in September 2017, of course linked up to the DLC releases, but not much has happened since. It's flatlined from November up until January, around 40,000, 45,000 players on Xbox, 70,000 on PS4 and 30,000 on PC. That has dropped recently over January, but that could be something to do with people going back to work, people going back to school and having to stop their gaming a little bit at the start of the year. You tend to see these slumps, as we saw last year as well. From January to February there was a big drop off of players, pretty much lost a third of the player numbers in that space of time. Interestingly for BF1, PC player numbers are actually fairly healthy and are not at an all-time low at all. It was the summer of 2017 that saw PC numbers droop to around 27,000, which was really not good at all for the game, but at the minute they are just above 30,000, peaking at around 35,000 on a very good day. Now that's a lot of players. Hopefully that can go up to around 40 or 50,000 with the Apocalypse DLC. But anything above 30,000 in my opinion is healthy. Now when you look at the Battlefield 4 player history, it is a lot different. Things started out okay, things got fixed, and as you can tell, Xbox One, PS4, everything spiked upwards. PC remained pretty much stable up until the end of 2016, dropped down and has again, as you see with everything, slowly dropped off, but is still racking up around 17,000 players, up to 20,000 on a good day, which in my opinion again is very, very healthy. All in all, you're looking between 60 and 70,000 players playing Battlefield 4 on any given day, while with Battlefield 1 you're looking at around double that. What I'm wondering though is, in the time from January 2018 to October 2018, can they keep the numbers that high? And I really doubt they can. They have to inject something into the game in between the last DLC and then the new game. In my opinion, there are several things that they could potentially do, and I'll go through those now. Bear in mind that this is purely conjecture and I have no concrete proof, however I've done what research I can and will say that all these things are strong possibilities. Firstly, will they focus on making Incursions a major part of the franchise? I believe that DICE have been working hard on Incursions with the intention of making it a major part of the next Battlefield title, whatever that may be. People have wanted a competitive style mode in Battlefield for ages, and although we had some in BF3 and BF4, Battlefield 1 left a whole lot to be desired on that part. In order for DICE to cater for the entire community, they do need to take a look at some comp mode, however I really don't think that is the direction that they want to take the franchise. Casual games are good, they sell lots of copies and people enjoy playing them, so if that's the model that is working, why change it? I for one do enjoy a casual game. There's nothing wrong with it being casual. Just because it's not being played for esports doesn't mean that it's not going to succeed and doesn't mean that it's not fun. Incursions seems to be a little project on the side, and whilst it could be successful and a lot of fun to play, I don't believe that it will amount to a whole lot. I hope I'm wrong, but from what I've seen so far, it's taking its time, and clearly isn't that important to DICE to have as their main project. Again, I could be wrong, that's just what I'm seeing from the outside. They have some very talented people involved with the project, so I'm sure that something great will come out of it, but how influential that will be for the direction of the Battlefield franchise is completely debatable. That being said, they could indeed push to complete the mode and then add it to the game within the period from Apocalypse and the new game. Alternatively, DICE could bring a special additional DLC that none of us have yet heard about. For this to work, it would have to be a free-to-play DLC with maybe a little incentive to those that shelled out for premium at the start of the game's life. I'm thinking something along the lines of the Battlefield 4 night maps or community maps. Now, we've seen it before in Battlefield 4. They brought out a community map, a big project that the whole community got involved in. There were lots of different directions the map could have gone. That would be really cool if they had a little section of the team available, maybe in around April, to come up with a map that the whole community got involved with and decided what they wanted exactly, picked part of history in World War I and created a conquest map that could also be played for operations. I think that would be insanely cool. It would really endear the fans to the developers once again. I feel like there is a bit of a gap in Battlefield 1 between the community and the devs. Some of them are great on Twitter, and I haven't got anything against any of them personally. I just feel as if the game took a certain direction away from that community driven stuff, and although the CTE is great and they work on a lot of things there, I personally feel as if a community map would do a lot to bring the community together. As for night maps, everybody loves night maps, but they might not work so well on Battlefield 1. I know we do have a few in the game already, and I really do enjoy them, but whether they'll base a new separate DLC just on night maps, I really don't think so. Nonetheless, it is definitely an option. DICE could also bring something else to the table entirely. In my opinion, there are several game modes that they could potentially bring in a similar way to how they're bringing air superiority back for the next DLC. Imagine if they brought Gunmaster back to Battlefield 1, and again Teabag mentioned this in his video. I'm really not sure why they haven't done it already, as it would not take much work at all. A few tweaks here and there and you have a Gunmaster game mode that is wanted by loads of people in the community and would certainly be well received. If you haven't played Gunmaster before in Battlefield 4, I would suggest you go and give it a try. It might not be something you put a whole load of hours into, but it's a cool experience and something they could definitely look into. Finally, DICE could do something really weird and bring us a new game mode that we've never seen before. There is a possibility that DICE could have been working on a Battle Royale mode for Battlefield 1, and although I believe this is unlikely, it would not surprise me to see DICE test the water with the extremely popular mode. If it is a hit, then they could even dedicate an entire game towards Battle Royale, or introduce it into the next Battlefield game. I personally don't want them to mix up Battlefield and turn it into a BR game, however I am looking at all possibilities here. There's even a possibility that they go into the zombies mode and bring something like that. I thought they really should have done that in Battlefield 4 as a little spin-off, a little zombie horde mode that we actually tried in a private server once and it was very well received. People really enjoyed that. Imagine if they did that in Battlefield 1. I'm not certain that they will do this, and I certainly don't want it as a main part of the game, but as a little spin-off as the game's coming to the end of its life, I don't see anything wrong with that to bring a bit more hype around the game, get some new players in, and reward the players that have been playing the game for the last year or so with something extra. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Do you want to see some additional game modes brought to the game after Apocalypse before the game is put down and the new one is picked up? Or do you want it just to be like they've said with the DLC, you get to the end of Apocalypse in February, March time, and then there's nothing else between then and October? That's a long time to wait, and I really think as if DICE need to do something in order to keep the community active and playing the game. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.